Thank you for staying with us. The road traffic authorities have warned motorists to abide by the rules of the road and ensure they stick to the COVID curfew. This as roads leading out of Gauteng start to pick up and get busy. Between 1,000 and 1,500 vehicles an hour have been recorded at the N3 to Durban, the N1 towards Limpopo and the N1 to the Free State. Road users have been urged to be cautious this festive season. SABC News journalist Nozintombi, Miya and video journalist Thabiso Paatjie are at the Grasemere toll plaza monitoring the situation.
It's been a very unusual festive season, this festive season of 2020, whereas we would usually anticipate that holidaymakers would start making their way down to the coast to start their festive season or holiday making. We've seen as a result of the lockdown restrictions, as a result of the COVID virus, that holidaymakers have been quite sluggish making their way down to the coast, and we've seen this in the traffic numbers. We've seen that the traffic numbers have not started peaking yet, and we are anticipating that the numbers of holidaymakers will start picking up closer towards next weekend as we see Christmas on Friday. And to talk to us a little bit more about this, I have Wayne Minnar from the Johannesburg Metro Police. Thank you so much for joining me, Wayne. Wayne, a definitely unusual year this year. What are we seeing with the numbers of holidaymakers making their way down to the coast?
Yes, what we're seeing now that there's a lot few cars as compared to other years, especially on the N3 going towards KZN. At the moment, there's approximately 1,000 vehicles per hour. Also, in a northerly direction towards Limpopo, we are seeing approximately 1,100 cars going in a northerly direction. So the volumes of traffic is lower as compared to other years. But still, we still have to be cautious. We still have to call on drivers to be extra safety conscious. It's very important that drivers are not reckless. It is very important that drivers do not drink alcohol and drive, because those are the factors that really complicate issues when it comes to driving. And then we have accidents and we have fatalities. So we really must still be extra cautious as we are on the roads, because the roads are busy, but not as busy as other years, but the roads are busy, and we still want drivers to drive with caution.
You're going to have a zero tolerance approach to people who do transgress against the curfew?
Yes, we're going to be having a zero tolerance approach to anyone who breaks the road traffic regulations and also who contravenes the COVID-19 regulations. Our officers are going to be out in full force. The majority of the operations are being done jointly. So it will be all the law enforcement agencies working together. We'll be having huge numbers of officers out on duty. And we just want to call on all the public and motorists to comply with the regulations. And then also pedestrians is an issue when it comes to road fatalities, because the majority of times the fatalities of pedestrians is about more than 40% of the total figure. So drivers, when you're on the road, please check out for pedestrians. Know that there's a possibility that pedestrians would be crossing the road, especially at night, when there's the possibility of someone who may have consumed some alcohol and then is on their way home or going to cross a busy road. There's a possibility of them crossing over in front of you. So for motorists to be on the lookout for pedestrians.
When, I think motorists have some sort of trepidation around the issue of their vehicle licenses and their driver's licenses. What is the correct process that needs to be followed for motorists to ensure that their vehicle licenses as well as their driver's licenses are up to date and they wouldn't get fines as a result of that?
Yes, having our cars and vehicles on the road in a roadworthy condition is absolutely important, because a vehicle with defective tires or smooth tires is a risk. A vehicle with defective brakes or defective steering mechanism is also a huge risk, and there's a possibility of an accident. So vehicles on the road must be roadworthy, and that also requires a license disc. The issue of a license disc, where August was the cut-off date for license discs. So every vehicle on the road right now should have a valid license disc. When it comes to driving license and learner's license and professional driving permit, there has been grace granted up until August. So up until August 2021, all motorists have an opportunity to get another driving license card and other professional driving permits. So the driving license issue has been granted grace. It was January, end of January, but now there's an extension up until end of August when it comes to driving license cards.
Thank you so much, Wayne Minnaar. Your final thoughts to motorists and warnings to motorists this festive season. We know it's definitely been an unusual one.
Yes, we're still going to have a zero tolerance when it comes to traffic regulation. We still want motorists to comply with the road traffic regulations. They must still drive within the speed limit. They must not overtake when it is not safe, especially when there's a curve in the road or a solid white line. We're still finding drivers crossing over and taking a chance over solid white lines. So their officers are going to have no mercy. Officers are going to issue fines and arrest reckless drivers. Where there's a driver who is posing any risk to other motorists or road users, definitely there's going to be an arrest, and officers are going to have no mercy towards drunken drivers this festive season.
All right, thank you so much, Wayne Minnaar from the Johannesburg Metro Police, saying they're going to have a zero tolerance policy to motorists who transgress against the traffic bylaws and also transgress against the COVID regulations of breaking any curfew. And they're saying to motorists that motorists must ensure that all of their vehicle papers are up to date, or else they will be fined. Again, a caution against speeding, against drunken driving. And what was quite interesting is that Wayne is saying that the numbers this year of motorists and holiday makers making their way down to the coast out of the Gauteng province is almost half of that of last year. And this is obviously as a result of the lockdown regulations and the restrictions that we've seen throughout the bulk of this year. But he says that it is still not a condemnation for motorists to behave recklessly on the road, and he is urging motorists to ensure that they do abide by the rules of the road, as all law enforcement around the traffic space will be out in full force to ensure that there is absolute compliance leading up to Christmas. With that, is back to you in the studio.